let me hit my banner and let's get into the first topic, which is this whole Britney Spears biopic. So we talked a little bit about it yesterday. It was revealed, during the show, actually, because I didn't even know it was happening, that John M. Chu, who directed the upcoming Wicked movie, and he's directed other things, like he did Justin Bieber's Never Say Never, things of that nature. He is in talks to direct, or I think it's on the dot, they sound on the dotted line that is actually happening, that he's going to be doing it. And so from what we know from that, Britney Spears is getting a biopic, one of many, because when I was looking at the article, they mentioned other people. They said there's a Snoop Dogg biopic coming too. I'm like, really? I mean, even though these days, everybody love Uncle Snoop, and Snoop will basically show up in an envelope opening at this point. But for the do we really want a Snoop Dogg biopic? Look, first of all, if they can make a good movie out of it, then I'm here for it. So I'm not going to judge it too harshly. I need to know a little more detail in regards to the situation. But I was trying to see in the article what they said. Okay, so they said, well, Universal has been, because I was looking at John M. Chu stuff, him personally, it's a little hit or miss with a lot of the films that he's directed, but he's used to doing things regarding musicians. So I think he works in that context of like how to make a biopic, how to work and do documentary films like the Never Say Never thing with Justin Bieber. And then he knows about choreography and making things look shiny and amazing on camera, like shooting action in regards of dance choreography, all that stuff. So, but Universal, they have done a lot of biopics, including Straight Outta Compton, which came out in 2015, which focused on NWA. It grossed more than $200 million at the box office. And he also did 8 Mile. Universal's behind 8 Mile, which I'm hearing that 50 Cent, when we talked about that yesterday, he's working on something in regards of, I think, a series that's based on 8 Mile with Eminem. So that's coming as well. But that movie, grossed $250 million globally, which is great for a small little film, especially that came out in like the 2000s. That came out in 2002. So a movie like that grossing $250 million and around the world, that's a huge hit for them, especially when I'm sure the budget was probably between 20 to $30 million. But they said that they're developing a biopic of Snoop Dogg, which is what I said already, as well as a film inspired by Prince's music. But which I hope that works out, because you already know the shenanigans that's happening over there with Netflix and the whole Prince docu-series, whatever they're doing with that. And they said that's being produced by Ryan Coogler's Proximity Media. The studio also recently wrapped production on a project from Pharrell Williams and Michel Gondry, inspired by the Grammy winner's Childhood Neighborhood. So that's all the things coming out. And plus, we already talked about Wicked. So yeah, that's happening. And I like Michel Gondry because he's directed a lot of music videos from Bjork. So with that being said, we were just debating yesterday, who do we think would be some interesting actresses that should play Britney Spears in the biopic? The only name that I could come up with at the time was Sabrina Carpenter. Like, she was the one that was off the top of my list, because I was like, she favors her blonde hair, cute little body, big boobs, even though I think they used to just try to heighten and make her breasts look a lot bigger than what they were. But I like Sabrina Carpenter. She's the closest that we have to like a hot pop act right now. Sorry, I'm eating ice. So we'll go through first things first. I was like, let's go through People Magazine, because People Magazine had 10 actresses who they think should play her. One, they said Sabrina Carpenter. So, she's from the Disney Channel. She was on Girl Meets World, which is like a spinoff of Boy Meets World. She also did a Netflix thing called Tall Girl before she transitioned over into the whole pop landscape. She has a new album coming out. That's supposed to be coming out, I think, this month. It's her 6th album, but now that's finally gotten traction. And she's even covered Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. So in my opinion, I feel like Sabrina is my top choice. I can't see nobody else past that. Now, but let's go down the list. So the next girl that they picked was Tate McRae. I've been hearing so much about Tate McRae, no shade, but I'm not really into her like that. I don't really see her as being, that girl. But according to the article, she's a singer-songwriter dancer. I remember she had one She was doing one type of style of music first. When that wasn't hitting, she did the Katy Perry and switched over and became like this whole pop star. And, they began their careers at a young age. I actually forgot that Tate McRae was on So You Think You Could Dance because I used to watch that show back in the day. Lately, I have not been keeping up with it, but she started out, during the JoJo Siwa era. I stopped watching. And then when they had Lorianne Gibson on there, I wasn't really watching. I watched in the beginning. So, she was on So You Think You Could Dance. She also lent her voice. She was doing a lot of voiceovers for kids' cartoons, including, 2014's Annie. And, Britney did Mickey Mouse Club and Star Search, which is what everybody did. Like, if you didn't get on Mickey Mouse Club, you did Star Search. Aaliyah started on Star Search. So many young kids. Usher was on Star Search. A lot of people start out there before they became like the big superstars that they are today. So, McRae says she is a fan of Britney. So maybe she would be a good choice, but honestly, I'm not really seeing it for her playing her, although she might be in the top of getting it. Another actress they said that they should go for, but I don't know if she got dance experience, Millie Bobby Brown. Now I like Millie Bobby Brown, but I'm not seeing Millie Bobby Brown as Britney. I think, she would be a big name and she'd be a familiar face because, everybody who watches, I'm not going to say everybody watches Stranger Things because they don't, but for those who do watch it, it's like, oh, familiar name. And look, she's married to the son of a rock star. She's Jake Bon Jovi, whose father is John Bon Jovi. So the Stranger Things star 20, who is 20, opened up about her aspirations to hopefully portray her during an appearance on the Drew Barrymore show in 2022, telling host Barrymore, I want to play a real person. And I think for me, it would be Britney Spears. I think her story, first of all, resonates with me. Just growing up in the public eye, watching her videos, watching interviews of how she was younger. I mean, same thing with you. So there is similarities of like Drew Barrymore, Britney Spears, and Millie Bobby Brown have kind of come up in the same thing where they were child stars who came up in the business and the ups and downs that they've had to endure. We don't know much about what Millie Bobby Brown has had to go through as an actor in the game because she's really pretty much kept a lot of her personal life private. Or maybe I just haven't been paying attention. But for the most part, we know a lot of tea about Britney before the book, with the paparazzi and everything and the shaving of the head and all that stuff. And we know of all the tea going on with Drew Barrymore and her troubled childhood and all the things she went through. So on that accord, while I'm not necessarily fully 110% on board with Millie Bobby Brown as the choice of playing Britney Spears, with her saying this, kind of edged it up a little bit. And so I'm like, okay, I could see it for her, but I'm not entirely 110% convinced. Now, another name that they came up with, and I'm sure you saw it in the headline photo that we put on the channel, was, on the YouTube thing, Sydney Sweeney. Why is it that they always picking Sydney Sweeney for every damn thing? It's because she's the it girl at the moment. Because here's the thing. Sydney Sweeney was also, I believe, up for the Madonna role before it ended up going to Julia Garner. So I could definitely see like why her name would be floating around in some circles. And she's 26 years old. To me, I don't see like what musical background that she has. Because if you're gonna go with someone who's gonna play Britney, you gotta be able to sing, you gotta be able to dance. I mean, singing, I guess, is not really all that required. I mean, Britney Spears lip synced throughout her entire career, most of it. 95%, I'll say, of her career, Britney ain't never screamed a note through that microphone when she's been on the stage. But so it's not a requirement that you got to necessarily have to say, and that's no shade. It's just the facts is the facts. Now, as far as like Sydney Sweeney goes, maybe she would be a good choice because she's like a big name. She's a known actress. Her career is starting to blow up because of Euphoria and other films that she's done, especially Everyone But You was a hit. Immaculate was a hit. Madam Web was another, we don't, it's like we don't, just like when we don't talk about Bruno, we don't talk about Madam Web. Like that's just a movie that we just put on the back burner in regards to that. So I could definitely see like why they would choose her, but I'm not entirely sold on Sydney Sweeney. Another name they came up with is that old, that scammer that was over at OnlyFans, Bella Thorne. So, known for her roles on Disney Channel's Shake It Up alongside Zendaya and tons of recent indie films, Bella Thorne has some fans considering her for the role of Spears, mainly for her looks as a blonde and also for her candid social media posts that ring similar to Spears. So, my thing is, just because somebody got the same hair texture, don't necessarily mean that they should be a top choice to play Britney Spears. So I'm not entirely sold on her either. I feel like she's a chop, and y'all need to get y'all eyes checked because I'm not seeing Bella Thorne playing no damn just playing this character. They also said Dove Cameron, which I'm not really familiar with her either, except for that one time she was on the episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's the only time I'm like really familiar with her. But they said she was on Agents of Shield. I really did not watch that show. I just did not think it was a good show, so I didn't stick with it. So I don't remember her on there. She has released music, so she has that in common, and she's also appeared in musical theater. You know, she's done a lot. She has a musical theater background because she was in Hairspray Live, Clueless the Musical, and a whole lot more. So Dove Cameron, she's a pretty girl. I don't really, like I said, I don't know much about her, but she's really got to be put through the grinder to prove that she could play that part. Because I feel like what this is going to be, they're going to probably put these girls through a boot camp, and rightfully so. That's what you need to do if you're going to have a Britney Spears type up there, because Britney came up in the era of boot camp training. Her, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all of them, they all came up in the era of boot camp training. These days, they don't even train these kids. They just like, oh, you got a cute little song on YouTube or TikTok. Okay, we're just gonna throw you out there and hope for the best. But back in the day, they actually trained these kids to get to where they are, which is kind of what's missing, in my opinion. Another person they picked is the sister of Dakota Fanning, Miss L Fanning. Is it L Fanning or Ellie Fanning? I think it's L. We're gonna go with the L magazine, L Fanning. Says that she's recognizable, and you know what? She is one of the most recognizable people on this page because Elle Fanning is, you know, a good actress, and she's been in a lot of stuff that I have seen. You know, I have seen a lot of movies that she's in. So, so they said in a red hot Instagram post shared at the time, Fanning donned a green bra, shorts, a cape, and headset microphone, as well as prop snake draped around her neck to recreate Spears' look at the 2001 MTV VMAs to perform I'm a Slave for You. She also sang in the 2018 film Teen Spirit. So I think Elle does have a singing background, and so she might be a good choice, in my opinion. Another person that they picked, excuse me, is Florence Pugh. Now, Florence Pugh, I feel like at this point is relatively busy. You know, she's been in Oppenheimer, Midsommar, Little Women, which was directed by Greta Gerwig, and then she's also in she was in Black Widow, but she also did the what is it, Thunderbolts, which she's about to appear in. I think they wrapped that up. That's already done. So she's about to be in that. So, in my opinion, I like Florence, but I feel like she's so busy with her acting and performance and all that other stuff. You know, I was also thinking, but this might not be a good idea because I'm thinking Florence Pugh. I was kind of like thinking, what about Chloe Grace Moretz? She might be a little too much of a choice. So I don't know if she would be good, but I don't know. She just popped in my head. There was another girl that they said too, Grace Van Dien. So we had number 9. I feel like we've been on here forever talking about this. But Grace Van Dien, is she the daughter of Casper Van Dien? I need to look into that to see because they have the same similar last name. And you know, she's also from Stranger Things, and she's also appeared in other TV and Netflix roles, including Greenhouse Academy. She played Sharon Tate in Charlie Says, and she also appeared on the NBC series The Village. And so I think people are throwing her in there because of the hair. And my thing is, we need to look beyond Britney's hair color because I don't even think blonde is her natural hair color. But we need to look beyond that and think like, okay, um, what else could they bring to the table? You got to be able to play all those different nuances of Britney, the sweet, you know, Southern Louisiana girl. You got to be able to play when she fed up and beating the car with the umbrella and shaving the head and running off with Kevin Federline and her love of peen. Like you got to be able to play all that stuff up throughout the movie, the 5150 shit. And then you got to be able to play all those nuances. And I don't know if some of these girls that y'all said on this list could pull that up. And then the last but certainly not least, they said a girl by the name of Madeline Klein, who I believe isn't she wait, It said the 26-year-old has garnered attention for a role as Sarah Cameron on Outer Banks. Wait a minute, she's in the new. Now I was like, why does that name sound familiar? Because she's about to be in I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot or requel, as we should call it. That's why I know. I'm like, I know that name. So she was on the show Outer Banks, and she also played Whiskey in the Knives Out sequel Glass Onion. So she's on her way. So Madeline Klein is on her way to becoming like that high profile actress. So on the count of that, she might be a good choice because she's up and coming, and you want her to spend a whole lot to get her to be a part of the thing. But she's got to be able to pull off and show that she could play a lot of the different ranges and stuff. But I guess we'll see. If she's about to be in a horror movie, you got to be able to play up a lot of that emotion when you're doing horror films. So that's People Magazine. And I think The Wrap had some similar ones, but we could just scroll through because I can come up and see like which ones didn't they say. They pretty much said all the same ones, just about. They said Margaret Qualley. She's a different, that was the name that wasn't on there. But she's married to Jack Antonoff. That's basically her association with music. It's like but on account of that, that's no, she's an actress, but she's mostly known it, but she is the wife of Jack Antonoff. So I'm like, no, we're good. They also mentioned Sophie Turner, who, used to be married to, well, I think she's still married to Joe Jonas, but she's an actress. She is married, she's in a fledgling relationship. She's about to be unmarried to a musician, like I said, Joe Jonas. And, she's mostly known for Game of Thrones and that sort of thing. And then she's also appeared in Do Revenge on Netflix. But I don't know. I'm not seeing Sophie Turner playing Britney. That's a chop for me. So those are the only two different ones that they had over at The Wrap. Now, the people wound up coming and going on social media, and they said a couple of names, and shout out to Pink News for this. So we're going to go with what the people said. So people are saying Millie Bobby Brown. That's who they want. They said at the time Spears shot the suggestion down, writing on IG, I hear about people wanting to do movies about my life. Dude, I'm not dead. Girl, we don't want you playing yourself. So I really hope that's not happening. Because Brittany, I mean, I love you, girl, but you are not an actress. We saw what was that movie? With Zoe Saldana? Crossroads. We saw that shit. So if you want to come out here and play yourself, we need an actor. Just be in the background, executive produce, consult. You already gave them the rights to the music. See, even Madonna know her limitations. She's like, I'm gonna just have the license to the music. I'm gonna direct. I'm gonna co-write, but I'm not playing me on the camera. I want somebody else to play me. So they said, they also said other actor names that would be in the running if fans had their way include Chicago star Olivia Holt, Saltburn's Allison Oliver, Disney star Ruby Rose Turner, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery actress Madeline Klein, and the great Elle Fanning. So we heard a couple of those names. Another person I'd like to suggest two casting options I haven't seen yet. Allison Oliver, who played a tragic blonde party girl in Saltburn, and Ruby Rose Turner, who grew up on Disney and was a fan favorite in the newest Descendants, where she showcases her singing and dancing skills. Well, I haven't seen Descendants. That's way past my pay grade, so, and my demographic. So if she actually did well in it, do y'all see her playing Britney Spears? Maybe because Britney is from my generation, it's just hard for me to like see these young girls trying to play her. But I did say that if you're going to do Britney, we need to have somebody who could play her. You got to play her as a young girl coming up in the business. And then you got to be able to put enough makeup and whatever on her to transition her to make her play older when we get to that point. A fair few Britney lovers have suggested that the role should go to a trained singer and dancer who can captivate the essence of performance that Britney is best known for. Because I think people get so caught up in looking like somebody. That's what irritates me with some. They don't look like her. They don't. It's like, that's not the point. I feel like we need to get somebody who captures the essence of the character. It's not always about you looking an exact interpretation. Another person said, don't cast an actress who's blonde. You have to cast someone who can sing and dance. We don't need a Bohemian Rhapsody situation with lip syncing. And we also don't need a repeat of her Lifetime movie. So the perfect choice is Olivia Holt or someone. Well, I agree and disagree with that. You're saying don't just cast an actress who's blonde. You have to cast, I mean, Britney is blonde. I mean, even though I think she dyed her hair more blonde than when she came up. Because I believe her hair was kind of like a brownish kind of look. If you look at the cover of her debut album, Baby One More Time. I believe her hair is like a honey blonde. Like, what the hell was that? I was like, what the heck was that? I think something started playing. But anyway, so um, I don't think you should just go based off of something like blonde, but people know her based off of her blonde hair. But if you actually thinking that somebody got to really get up there and sing, I'm like, no. So I'm like, wait, let me see if I can pull that picture of Miss Britney with her old school look from back of the day. Yeah, there she go. Oh baby, baby, and something wasn't right here. But anyway, so the hair wasn't blonde, but it was always blonde in so many ways. So who else did they say? I mean, some of the girls is cute. But they say like you don't necessarily need somebody who you have to cast somebody who could sing and dance. Well, I do agree with that. So maybe what needs to happen at this point, and I don't care how many times I'm trying to emulate the whole thing, but I do agree with one of the people, and then we can wrap this up because I feel like we spent a little too much time on this. They said genuinely think the Britney, one person named Jay Blazin said, genuinely think the Britney biopic role should go to a complete unknown. Bring back open auditions. This is what one fan wrote on social media. Bring back dance classes. There is an undiscovered triple threat in Mississippi right now who was born to re-record. Oops, I did it again. And you want to know something, Jay Blazin? I couldn't have said it better myself because I truly believe that. It's like, why are we always so quick to just give everything to a name? It's like Sabrina Carpenter, all of them, they all doing right by what they doing. But I really feel like so that way we don't get so caught up in the other thing. I do agree with that. Let's get an unknown in there, some up and coming kid who could sing, who could dance, who's a triple threat, and who knows, that could be the next undiscovered talent that you can get to come. You know what? What if they did this as a reality show? Damn, what's the name of that? Making the Band. What if they did something like that, where it was like a reality show where Britney is having an open casting call? You have all these young girls who are coming in, who they put them through the ringer, the boot camp, all that other stuff. Choreographers, working with the top choreographer, working with the top singing coach, all that other stuff, and then you have a band of judges, including Britney, who decides on based on week to week who they want to play that. Or would that be too much? Like that would be an interesting thing, but I do agree that they need to bring back dance classes. They need to like the old school way. Like that's what I grew up on. It's like the training, the overall grinder that you have to go through to get to where Britney and them is. You shouldn't just be handed something because you're a name. So I do agree with the whole thing about let's get an unknown. Why not do an open casting call? That to me is to say bet. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this? Do you agree with some of the names that we talked about that people are saying that should play Britney in the biopic? Or do you think they should just go with a complete unknown? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.